On Saturday fight night, we're in Scotland. For centuries, its beautiful scenery was a backdrop for conflict. And to this day, Scotland honours its warrior tradition. Tonight, one of Scotland's bravest modern ring warriors tops the bill. But so far for Brian Carr, a tale of heroic failure. Against the brilliant youngster Michael Brodie, Carr performed above himself, but cuts conspired against him. Carr's bid for the British and Commonwealth Super Bantamweight titles ended in disappointment. Then, challenging Pat Mullings for the British title, Carr raised his performance to find the referee controversially scoring against him.
Mullings has got the decision. That is a bit of a stunner, I must say. Carr cannot believe it.
Many brave hearts would have been broken by that, but following the legend of Robert the Bruce, Carr would try and try again. And Scotland's fortunes have turned for the better. Scott Harrison, Scott Dixon, and Ian McLeod have all become Commonwealth champions recently. Tonight, it's Carr's chance to keep up the improvement. But no easy-looking task. Carr's bid for the vacant Commonwealth Super Bantamweight title comes against Nedal Hussein, a hot young prospect from Australia. But maybe Carr will be inspired by making his third big title bid in Scotland. It's the Kelvin Hall in Glasgow, as the Scots try to keep up their winning run. Carr hoping to revive memories of the great nights here. For example, wins here for the former world lightweight champion, who has been a role model to Scotland's aspiring stars ever since. Well, he fought like a star, and in these parts used to sing pretty well afterwards as well, but we're only asking him to talk tonight. Jim Watt joining Gary Jacobs. Between them, perhaps two of the outstanding stars in Scottish boxing over the last 25 years. What's going on with Scotland? You may not win at rugby anymore, but suddenly you are producing boxing champions again, Jim.
Yeah, well, we're in the wilderness for a couple of years. I think we went about 16 title fights without a win. But there's been regular promotions in Scotland. We've also a good little bit of talent, so we're getting a little bit of luck now, so we're winning titles.
It was a good stadium for you here as well, Gary. One remembers, I think, your Commonwealth title win. Was that against an Australian on the way up?
It was indeed. It was actually in 1988, 12 years ago. Almost coming up to 12 years ago. It was against an Australian called Will Jensen. It was my first big title that I won in this very hall.
Now, from Brian Carr's point of view, he's come up just short a little too often. No titles, but perhaps we could brand him the unluckiest fighter in Britain in recent years. Could that change tonight, do you feel?
Yeah, I think he's got a fantastic chance. He has come up a little bit, as you say, unlucky. He's been a little bit, you know, in another person's backyard against Mullings. It may have went his way if it was in Glasgow. Again, he's had two title shots. One should have been his way. One, he was very unfortunate against Brodie with the cut eye. But here he is in his own backyard. Maybe he can have the home decision this time.
Commonwealth Super Bantamweight title fight is our top of the bill tonight. Carr's third chance. But before that, surely the last chance tonight for Neville Brown. For much of the 90s, Brown was recognised as Britain's top middleweight. His win over Willie Quinn, one of 6 successful title defences.
It is over, it is stopped, Neville his title.
He's also been one of boxing's endearing characters. A little bit different perhaps, but very well liked. He lost his crown to Glenn Catley. This was a hard, controversial, mauling battle.
I felt deep down in my heart that this chap was getting away, he was taking liberties, and he was allowed to get away with it.
But after a long layoff, he's back, apparently with ambition intact, age 34.
I believe I can be a world champion, and if Howard Eastman is in my way, then that's where I've got to go.
Howard Eastman is now the British champion. He and Brown are eyeing each other up.
We're looking at Neville Brown in April, if Neville Brown have the bottle to face Howard Eastman.
But he hasn't beat the man. You're looking at him here.
They're talking it up, certainly. Brown against Eastman mooted for the end of April. Brown appearing slightly above the middleweight limit here tonight, but hoping to prove he's still very much a threat. And perhaps a risky-looking job tonight against Chris Davies, the Welshman, normally campaigning at light heavyweight, but on a winning run of 5 in a row. That's our first live action, and Jim is joining Adam Smith at ringside tonight. In the ring, Mike Goodall returns for MC duties.
Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome viewers live and exclusive on Sky Sports to Championship Boxing, promoted by Frank Warren in association with Alex Morrison Promotions at the Kelvin Hall in Glasgow, by kind permission of our sponsors Glasgow City Council and Skelly's Motor School. We begin our coverage this evening with a super middleweight contest of 8 3-minute rounds. Between and introducing, firstly, in the red corner, wearing the purple trunks trimmed with white and red, weighing in at 12 stone 3 pounds and coming from Bantam in South Wales. His professional record reads 11 contests, 7 wins, 4 wins by way of knockout with 4 losses. Please welcome to Glasgow, Chris Davies. And across the ring, ladies and gentlemen, in the blue corner, wearing the red and white, coming from Burton-on-Trent and weighing in at 11 stone, 12.5 pounds. He holds a 37-fight professional record, 31 wins, 25 wins by way of knockout with 6 losses. He's the former British middleweight champion. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting Nedal Hussein. Your officials are appointed this evening by the British Boxing Board of Control. The timekeeper for this contest, Mr. Ricky Gilmore. The referee, Mr. Al Hutchin, and this is 8 3-minute rounds.
Okay, boys, you both know the rules. Let's have a good clean contest. Keep your punches up and watch your heads inside. The say break, I want you to step back clearly. Knock your opponent down. You want the furthest route to one. I'm going to take up the count. Now let's have a good one. Shake hands, may the best man win.
They touch gloves. One of the most charismatic, eccentric, thoroughly pleasant and frustratingly talented boxers in the British game. Burton-on-Trent's Neville Brown, now 34 and surely on a last voyage towards former glory. He held the British middleweight title for much of the 90s and is hoping for another crack at the 11 stone 6 belt, but will his weight be his undoing here? It's a dangerous, risky fight against a naturally big light heavyweight in Welshman Chris Davies, and the former amateur star from the Ronda Club is on a professional roll and fancies causing a major upset. Brown is big at 11, 12.5. Davies has shed pounds to 12.3. Both men fighting out of their divisions, Jim.
Yeah, this is a tough one for Brown, but I mean, he's always been a proud professional. He's chasing titles again, so he wants to prove to himself that he still has plenty in the tank, and this a win tonight will certainly prove that. This is a tough match.
At 25, Chris Davies has won 5 in a row, including knocking out Jim Twite, former amateur star with body shots. Will be using his weight advantage surely against Brown here. It's a super middleweight contest, but remember, Neville Brown is a natural middle. He went up to the 12 stone mark, didn't quite make that on the scales when he fought Steve Collins for the world title and just didn't have enough strength that night. Now, Davies has been beaten 4 times before, but how much will that weight prove a factor here? Brown will have the speed, no doubt about that.
It will have, but I mean, if you're going to step out your weight division, you usually do it with a little bit of common sense. You don't go in with a solid pro who's a big puncher, but that's what Brown's doing tonight. This really is a big risk for him. And already you can see the kind of look of strength between the two of them. I mean, Davies really looks solid on his feet there.
Just digging in a left to the body, Chris Davies. For Brown to feel that strength. So talented, Neville Brown, but occasional question marks about his chin. Davies boasts 4 knockouts in his 7 wins. Can he land flush tonight?
I think already Neville Brown realises what kind of job he's taking on tonight. He feels this guy's strength. He knows he's going to be difficult to budge. So already I think he's looking to try and steal a few rounds, a few of the early rounds, because this is going to end up drooling at one point.
He doesn't want to get involved, does he?
And I don't think he's going to have a chance because of this fellow, very solid, very strong, and he's prepared to walk right up to Brown. He's not worried about the punches coming his way.
Clifton Mitchell in the Neville Brown camp was saying beforehand that Neville's just going to go out and have a look at him for the first couple of rounds. He hasn't really had the chance. Good opener. Welcome back to Neville Brown's corner here in Glasgow, and he's got a tough fight on his hands, hasn't he, Jim, with Chris Davies?
Yep, and I think he knows that already. I think he's felt the strength of the man in front of him already. It was a clever first round from Brown. I thought he just nicked it with doing a little bit more work, but I think he has realised in the first round how tough this may come out to be.
Neville Brown from Staffordshire in the red and white skirt, up against Chris Davies from Blancliddock in Wales in the purple. He's had a problem with motivation, Davies, in the past. He's had a couple of breaks from the ring. 1 year and 1 of 3 year, but he's been fighting regularly, has won 5 in a row. And Brown has been out of action since July. Before that, had an 18-month break himself. Who will be fresher in there? Remember, Neville Brown is 34 years of age now, having his 38th fight. How much has he got left? Good right hand from Chris Davies, and Brown felt the power there. Just took a step backwards. And the weight advantage is starting to pay off for Chris Davies. Was this a big mistake for Neville Brown? Davies starts to unload, and Brown needs to get out of that corner. The punches are raining in, and Al Hutchin is taking a very close look. He's got to get his gloves up, Neville Brown, and the referee has stopped it. That's a devastating defeat for Neville Brown. He bitterly complains. Clifton Mitchell is shouting in the corner. Neville Brown says, no way. Was that premature, Jim?
Maybe slightly, but it was one of these situations Neville should have been throwing some punches back. He wasn't throwing punches back, he was trying to slip. The solid punches were landing on target. He should have been throwing back, he should have been grabbing hold of Davies or trying to slip and slide, but he was standing there taking the shots. The referee was having second thoughts. He realised how experienced Brown is. Maybe he should let it go a little bit, but Brown should have helped him on his way. He should have thrown back.
He's saying, you took my dream away, Neville Brown, but did he make and pay for the mistake of going in with a man who was just too big, too strong and too powerful?
Well, the signs were straight away in the first round, the difference in strength. The problem for Brown was that Davies had the confidence to march straight into range without worrying what was coming his way. He knew Brown didn't have the power to trouble him. He could take chances, he could take Brown's punches to land his own, and his own punches were really spot on. Real, powerful, accurate shots. Brown should have been throwing back at this stage or grabbing hold of Davies, but he did neither. He was ducking, diving, trying to make the punches miss, but the punches weren't missing, the punches were landing. He really left the referee with no choice, Adam.
He had to get out of that corner then.
He had to throw back, he had to punch back, or he had to grab hold of Davies and force the referee to break them, but he did neither.
Well, what a win for Welshman Chris Davies. Only his 8th in 12 contests. Neville Brown there just looks at Al Hutchin. He can't believe it, and it's still in the ring now, going on. A debate between the two of them. Brown can't believe it, and Al Hutchin is explaining what happened. But the truth is, it was a nightmare for Neville Brown.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 1 minute 11 seconds of round 2, the referee has stopped the contest. The winner, Chris Davies.
Well, a great victory for Chris Davies, and Neville Brown's dreams of a British middleweight title, well, are they over?
Ladies and gentlemen, your appreciations for a very disappointed and unlucky Neville Brown.
That makes it 6 in a row now for Davies. Just exactly what Neville Brown was hoping would not happen tonight. A young man, confident, starting to put his career together, and Neville cast in the role of, dare I say it, fading former champion, trying to prove there was something still in the tank. Bitter defeat. Adam's going to have a word with him.
Well, Neville, you were obviously very, very disappointed about the stoppage. You didn't think it was fair?
Oh, no. I mean, he's a strong lad. He's patient. He's a good fighter. That's why well, I didn't know much about him, but end of the day, I wanted 4 good heavy rounds with him. I know if I kept the speed up and kept him working a little bit, after 4 or 5 rounds, he'd be mine. And then I'd show my party tricks and all the rest of it. But the referee, for some reason, I mean, there's a big weight difference here. I gave a lot of weight away. Even though I came in at 11-12, it still wasn't my weight. And I guess he was going to boom me in the first couple of rounds. But the referee should not have done what he did. He just ruined my dream. I wanted to fight Eastman. Eastman, I still want you. I still feel I'm the British champion. And I still want to fight with you.
Neville, you say ruin your dream, but did you make the mistake about fighting a man who was just too big for you tonight?
The truth is, it wasn't my choice. I was just told to get a workout. I wanted to get a workout. I've been training. I've been in the gym constantly. I've been training for Howard Eastman. I think he's a great champion. I thought me and him would be a brilliant fight. And I think, you know, at the end of the day, they were sending me somebody just to move around with, and that's what I thought it was in the early rounds. He's a very strong guy. I needed 4 or 5 rounds just to get the strength out of him. He may have caught me with a couple of shots, but it was mainly the sheer weight of him. I mean, if he came in at 12-3 yesterday, he'll be about 13 stone today. I'm still...
You don't sound like a man who wants to quit. You obviously feel there's stuff left for Neville Brown.
If you look at my history, what's going on? Nothing but controversy. How on earth did the referee feel that I was taking punishment? I'm an athlete. In this game, there's risks, and I'm so disappointed. I'm not even breaking sweat. I mean, yes, he was strong, he was heavy, but he didn't have me hurt. I don't understand that. All they've done is rob the public of a great middleweight contest. If the British Board of Control say this fight was, if they sanction this, and if they go ahead with this fight and say, well, I got stopped and therefore I lose my #1 ranking as a middleweight to fight Eastman, they're going to ruin a great fight.
For you, it's back to the gym and hoping that fight does come about.
Well, I don't know now. I mean, what do? Do I hang around for another 18 months? End of the day, I'm a class act. I know my business. Clifton and the rest of the people have all looked after me. I've trained well. And, you know, Howard Eastman and myself was a great fight. And then this chap comes in today. I mean, I give weight away. I'm confident. Most Arm is probably 11-12 at the minute. And, yes, he's going to push me around a little bit. I expected a rough night's work. But nothing, that way should have been stopped.
Well, Neville, we wish you the best of luck and we hope to see you again.
I hope so too. Do you want to say something?
More on that in a moment. Top of the bill coming a little later for the vacant Commonwealth Super Bantamweight title. Brian Carr of Scotland hoping to turn things his way. Late in the day in his career too, it must be said. Promising newcomer from Australia, Nedal Hussein is the opponent. Carr's 3rd chance to win a big title belt, hoping for a change in fortune. That was Neville Brown's
right decision. Can't disagree with him. He got caught by the heavier shots. He was taking a barrage of punches in the corner, and that's where the damage is done. The referee had no choice and no option but to step in and stop the fight. I mean, Neville Brown can talk and say about it. You'll see here he takes a good left to the body, left hook to the head, and then a right hand.
Why, for people watching at home, was it the right stoppage decision when Neville contests that so much?
Because he was disorientated. All he was doing here is, look, he's not fighting back, he's covering up, he's taking some heavy shots to the head and to the body, more so to the head. And it's a dangerous sport. The referee is in there to protect him and the other boy. So he's done the right thing.
Gary, is there any way off this now that Neville Brown should be allowed to go ahead to challenge Eastman for the British middleweight title?
Well, if he wants to challenge Howard Eastman for the title, he has to work his way back in there, he has to get in contention again, and he has to start again. I mean, boxing's a ladder effect. You know, you climb to the top, he's #1, he's now been beaten, he's been stopped by a man who's bigger, who he's talking about he's going in just for a workout. You don't go in a boxing ring for a workout, it's business in there. Chris was in there, he's done the business, and that's it. He's actually stopped him, and he stopped a good champion.
Scotland's Carr, top of the bill here later on, but a youngster is in action on the undercard here tonight. It's Barry Hughes, 21 years of age from Glasgow, 7 wins out of 8 so far, but great chance for him to prove that maybe he can follow the likes of Jacobs, Watt and the rest. Opponent's Gary Flear from Birmingham, a regular on the circuit. Let's rejoin Mike Goodall.
Ladies and gentlemen, we continue our boxing, sponsored by Skelly's Motor Stores and Glasgow City Council, with a lightweight contest of 4 3-minute rounds. Presenting and introducing firstly in the red corner, wearing the black trunks, fighting out of Birmingham and weighing in at 9 stone 8 pounds, holds a 39-fight professional record, 25 wins, 4 wins by way of a knockout, with 13 losses and 1 draw. Introducing Gary Flear. And across the ring, ladies and gentlemen, in the blue corner, wearing the blue trunks and coming from Glasgow, weighing in at 9 stone 11.5 pounds. From his 8 professional contests, he has 7 wins, 6 wins with inside the distance and 1 loss. Ladies and gentlemen, Barry the Braveheart Hughes. Your referee, Mr. Victor Loughran, the timekeeper, Mr. James Russell, and this is 4 3-minute rounds.
Hi guys, got clean contest, no illegal punches, no illegal use of the head. When I say break, I want you to stop boxing and step back. Best of luck to both of you.
Well, let's take a look at Barry Hughes, the 21-year-old from here in Glasgow, who has won 7 of his 8 professional outings so far. He has Braveheart emblazoned on the front of his blue shorts. He's up against the sometimes awkward, but now really just a journeyman in Gary Flear, the 34-year-old from Birmingham, from the Norman Nobbs camp. Can prove difficult to fight Flear, and Hughes can be exciting. He's had a couple of very quick wins, one in 41 seconds, the Des Souden of Plymouth in June last year, and one in 66 seconds, so don't blink here. Break.
Well, Hughes is shaping up as one of the brightest young prospects we have in Scotland at the moment. He's definitely going to be an attraction, he's definitely going to be exciting, but probably his main fault is just a little bit too intent on being exciting. He wants to get everyone out of there at the first round, but certainly a bit of talent there.
He's got 6 of them out of their 6 knockouts on his record. Only Gareth Dooley lasted the distance. Will Gary Flear?
I would say this could possibly be Hughes' toughest test. Flear very experienced, a little bit awkward, southpaw as well. So it may take Hughes a round or 2 to get close here.
Yes, can be tricky to fight. He turned pro in 1984, Gary Flear. When he was 19, he was pretty decent in the 80s, but that was a long time ago. And against this up-and-coming little possible star here in Glasgow, we'll see how well he can do. Catches him on the counter.
See, Hughes wants to spend the first round or so just learning how to land punches on Flear. Forget the power at the moment. He just wants to start solving the fellow out, find out how to get close and how to get punches. He's winding up every shot here.
His all-action style as he comes forward. Really good time for Scottish boxing at the moment, and they have high hopes, the Alex Morrison stable, of young Barry Hughes.
He's showing a little bit of patience now as the round's running on, so that's better. He just wants to take his time against this fella. This fella's very awkward, very experienced.
A man who's seen it all before, hasn't he?
Yeah, but you don't want to be wasting too much energy against these fellas, because these fellas who are known to go the distance. You don't want to lose your strength for no reason. Hughes just a little bit wild in the first round, just too intent probably in pleasing the crowd. But he settled down as the round went on.
Here's the second in the 9 stone 9 lightweight division, absolutely buzzing in Britain at the moment, with British and Commonwealth champion Bobby Vanzee, who had that win over Stephen Smith. Smith found controversial, to say the least. There's Colin Dunn, Billy Schwer and Michael Ayres. Wonder how long it will take for Barry Hughes from Glasgow here in the blue shorts to get amongst those sort of names. Obviously a long way to go yet, but he's had a good start to his professional career, winning 7 of 8. The only defeat was in his debut.
And by all accounts, I think that's a fight that should have gone his way. But I think he realises how awkward now Flear is. He's calming down a little bit. He's doing a bit more thinking than he was doing at the start of the first round. So this is better for Hughes now.
Starting to catch. Flear clean. Barry Hughes. The crowd here enjoying this one. He sold some tickets. They do love someone with this sort of style, don't they?
Yeah, he's definitely going to be an attraction. He obviously just wants a little bit more experience. He still has a fair bit to learn, but certainly a fair bit of potential, a fair bit of talent there. Just as you see, he's so keen on scoring the knockouts. He sells a lot of tickets, and I think he wants to keep the fans happy. But as I said earlier, it's going to take a couple of rounds to start landing cleanly on this guy. He's very experienced, very awkward. But thankfully, Hughes is showing a little bit more patience now.
Flear does have that sort of hunched up style with a high guard. Just leaning over in that southpaw stance. Lost only a couple of his first 20. And then retired, but that's a little right hand. And it's being counted. Was it a knockdown, Jim?
That was a beautiful little punch, little short punch. I think Flear was expecting to back off from the clinch. Lovely punch, so he just wants to take his time here. There's the power he can do it with the one punch. Just take his time.
Just a little sneaker, wasn't it, that crept through?
Yeah, that shows that he has natural punching power. It wasn't a swing. He didn't set himself, just a nice little jolting right-hand shot. Beautiful punch.
Some blood now to the nose of Gary Flear. And Hughes knows he can hurt the Birmingham man. Just holds and waits his moment before pouncing again.
See, that's what makes him so exciting. He has that natural punching power. That was a beautiful shot that scored the knockdown.
A big round and a big breakthrough for Glasgow's Barry Hughes, and there's Gary Flear sitting rather dejectedly on his corner. Let's have another look, Jim.
See, he's just a little bit too eager. That was a beautiful shot. You can see it hardly travelled 7 or 8 inches. A beautiful shot, just natural power. Up the shot came, bang on the chin. That was a beauty.
A lovely little right hand. And earlier on, you could see it was starting to get through then.
Yep, he's tending to bank on single punches. I just want him to concentrate a bit more on his boxing. I mean, you're going to move up in class as time goes on. You want to be learning the business, not rely on big punch all the time.
Third round of a good learning fight for Barry Hughes. Again tries that right hand on Birmingham's Gary Flear. In the black trunks, fighting out of the southpaw stance. 34 years of age, he's had 39 fights. He's been retired a couple of times. It's been an on and off career for Gary Flear. Did have a points win over Chris Saunders, who went on to be the British welterweight champion, but very much going through the motions now. But a good learning fight for Hughes.
Yeah, well, at this stage of his career, it's a good match. But he has the power to hurt Flear, so he just has to settle down and think about how to get the punches home. Don't think about power until you're actually landing the shots. The trouble is, now that Flear's been hurt, he's thinking even more defensively, so he's going to make it more awkward for Hughes.
Just try and stay in with the Glasgow man, who looks physically bigger. and does have that power, as we saw in the second. Again goes for the right hand. This time the Flear guard goes up. Is he looking a little bit too much for it, though?
Yep, the problem is Flear knows what's coming now. He's showing patience on the outside, but as soon as he makes his initial move, he's kind of lunging in, trying a single right hand. Flear, experienced man, he sees it coming, he's just tying him up now.
Has lost his last 4, Flear. 7-round defeat to Stephen Smith. He took Bobby Vanzy the distance back in '98. Vanzy from Bradford, the British and Commonwealth champion, eyeing a fight possibly with Michael Ayres. Really exciting division, isn't it, at the moment?
Yeah, it's a good division. Good division. I mean, it'll be a little while before Hughes will be thinking about the top names, obviously, and he's just starting off on his career. But this is a real good test because Flear is very experienced and very awkward, and he's shown him a lot of problems here. I think Hughes maybe become a little frustrated. Boxing at home, he wants to look good, and he probably feels at this moment he's not looking good, but you have to remember this guy knows the business. This is a real good tradesman he's in with.
That's it, he knows he can hurt him, but he can't get through now, so what does he do?
Well, there's things you have to do. When you're in with an awkward opponent, the first thing you have to do is show him a feint, little threats, and see how he reacts to that. Force him to make the first move, but Hughes is not doing that.
Welcome back, and on the left of your screens, Barry Hughes, on the right, Gary Flear. And as you can see, Hughes has had much the better of this contest so far. Here's the final round of 4 9-stone-9 lightweight division. Barry Hughes, the 21-year-old local favourite from here in Glasgow in the blue trunks. He had Gary Flear down with a short right hand in the second. Flear's had his defence up, but that one went through, another right hand, and Flear went down, and he's having the count. He's on one knee. He rises to his feet. Doesn't look too interested on going on. Can Barry Hughes stop Flear here in the final round? It'd be a good one, wouldn't it, Jim?
Yeah, that'd be an excellent stoppage win on his record. But again, it was the right hand from nowhere. He didn't work it, he didn't move into range, but it was a beautiful punch when it landed. So he has to learn, he has to force this fella to make some mistakes. He's stalking really without pressurising him, so he's not forcing Flear into making mistakes and giving himself some target. But another nice little night's work, another step up the ladder, an obvious win, whether it's points or whether or not he'll manage to force a stoppage here.
Again, trying to break the defence down. Flear looked a little wobbly when he rose to his feet, but he's an old pro and he gained his composure. Got those gloves back up. Has he got the energy to see this little 4-rounder out?
Well, you can see already that Hughes is definitely going to be an attraction. He's going to have to develop his left hand a little bit more, the jab and the hook. It's getting the job done at this level, the right hand, but he's tending to depend on it too much. It's getting him on top again.
And the referee wants to see no more. Gary Flear hit too many times with that right hand. That's what did the damage. And Barry Hughes notches a 7th stoppage win. And that was impressive. He waited and caught Flear time and time again with the same punch, Jim.
Yeah, and a stoppage victory over Gary Flear at this stage in his career is an excellent result for young Hughes, and he's marching forward. A little bit to go, a little bit of practicing to be done in the gymnasium, but a lot of talent there, a lot of potential. See, the power is natural. You can see he's tending to wind the right hand up a little bit. The best punch was the first knockdown, where a little punch came out on its own. A little bit wild, but a beautiful shot and a lot of power when it landed.
Here we can see it again, Jim.
Switching from body up to head. But he's just a little bit off balance. Flear was pushing him back here, but it shows even when he's off balance, he has the power to drop an opponent.
That left hand just dropped to Flear, didn't it, at the crucial moment?
Yeah, but there's always the chance that the big right hand was going to get through. Hughes was throwing a lot of right hands. He just has to tighten up and tidy up a little bit. As I keep saying, a lot of potential there.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 1 minute 40 seconds of the fourth and final round, the referee has stopped the contest. Gary Flear in no position to continue. The winner, Barry Hughes. And appreciations, please, to the opponent, Gary Flear.
21 years of age. Glasgow belongs to him. Whole world in front of him. Good luck in his pro career, but it's going to get a lot harder, isn't it, Gary?
Yeah, he's a young kid. He's unbeaten. He's here. He's wanting to learn. Again, it's a good stoppage for him. Flear's been about for a very long time. Knows how to survive. He's went in there. He's done the business, and he has everything to look forward to. But he has to go in and learn his trade a little bit sharper than that.
He does have this weight of the Glasgow public behind him. Now, I know they can't get in there and do it with him, but it does help if the people like you.
Oh, of course, I mean, when you're in there in your own hometown or shouting and bawling behind you, it gives you another gear, it gives you a wee head start, it gives you that wee edge in the ring, especially when you're in fighting in your own backyard.
Top of the bill is next here in Glasgow. It's the vacant Commonwealth Super Bantamweight title fight, vacated by Michael Brodie, as you may remember. Here's what happened at the weigh-in. 2 trips to the scales for Brian Carr. 8 stone 10 limit. His last fight, of course, was at featherweight, but Hussein from Sydney, 22 years of age, 17 straight wins, 10 by knockout, no problems at the scales, and he too has performed at featherweight. So no trouble for him. Carr had to come back a second time. Any thoughts on that?
I think he might just be dabbling a little bit with his weight there, but sometimes I think the scales, you don't have to really read too much into them. Sometimes as a professional, you know, it can be like the scales are calibrated, it might have moved a second round, but it depends how much you had to actually lose on the scales or on the day. But he's in there, he's in with a great chance. It looks for a mouth-watering prospect of a fight, because he's been in there twice, 2 cracking title fights, and here's third time lucky, hopefully.
2 gripping title fights, as Gary says. We won't forget the meeting with Michael Brodie in a hurry, certainly. Here's what happened that night when Carr was a big outsider and Brodie was the boy on the way up. British and Commonwealth titles were at stake. And Carr managed to cause Brodie many more problems than most expected. Was that because he raised his effort?
Yeah, I think he knew. I mean, when you're in fighting somebody that's better or supposedly better, you're going to raise your game, you're going to raise your gear, and he gave Brodie all the trouble he needed on the night. And who knows, he could have been slightly ahead, he could have been even, but it was a cracking fight. Here we see here it was a clash of heads, and the cut stopped it. That is one of those nights when he was just unlucky, but he was well in the fight, and he had a very good chance of beating Brodie, or even dethroning him and being a massive underdog.
Next year, following year, against Patrick Mullings, same old story. This only for the British title, incidentally, but he went home empty-handed with his title as unluckiest boxer reinforced, because Mullings got the decision this night. What are your memories of this?
Again, just as what you said here, it was a great fight. He probably just won it, but again, people shouting in Mullings' backyard, maybe give him the edge, you know. It's like it's that way when the referee is like, it's Ichi Pichi. There's more shouting going on for Mullings. He sees it on his round at the end, but again, very, very unlucky. Here you see him, he's just like down in the dumps. Again, third time lucky.
Here's the opponents tonight. Already he has won a collection of titles, Australian champion at Bantam and Super Bantam, and a couple of decent fights have gone his way at featherweight. And guiding Hussein, a man who is said in Australia only ever to get involved with good fighters. And after all, he was something himself. Jeff Fennick. He fought the legendary Azuma Nelson twice. First time round, hotly disputed draw. This the rematch in Melbourne, held in the open air in front of a huge crowd in the tennis stadium in pouring rain. Fennick, 3-weight world champion, was favourite, but a peak Nelson stopped him. Now Fennick's putting his hopes in Hussein.
Britain are going to see one of the best prospects in the world of boxing. This kid can punch with both hands. He's a big kid for his weight, and like I said, you know, I've been excited about him for a couple of years, and it's good that he'll resurrect his career, or he'll start his career here in Britain. He'll show you people who love boxing what a great fighter we've got in Australia.
A young Jeff Fennick?
Different to me, certainly I've boxed with him, and I'm really excited about this kid. You just had Mick O'Malley, who won the Commonwealth title. Mick O'Malley wouldn't fight this kid, and he's only a junior featherweight, so it speaks volumes about this boy.
So what can we expect from him?
Like I said, a very, very exciting prospect. I honestly believe that we'll win the fight and we'll win convincingly, so we just hope we get a fair shake and the referee puts his hand on the right head.
Jim Watt's too far away from me, so I dare say this. It's a while, Jim, since you were cast in the role of young, hungry fighter on the way up, with no disrespect. Do you make Hussein a favourite?
Yeah, unfortunately I do, yes. But the good thing about Brian Carr, he's a greatly underrated fighter. People mention he's not a big puncher, but they forget how gritty he is, how determined, how tough a time he was giving Michael Brodie, who is now, as everybody knows, world class. I would say Carr is the best that Hussein has faced. So Carr has proved himself at this level. Hussein still has to do that, although maybe we make him a slight favourite. Who knows what's going to happen on the night? Maybe the experience and the sheer grit of Brian Carr might prove too much for the young kid.
Nice word you've used there, grit. Have to be hungry, have to be determined to be a winner. Do you think the losses that he's sustained might just lift Carr this time to the extra yard?
I think that's definitely what's going to happen here. And we have to remember, not all of the losses did we decide was fair. I mean, he's really had some tough luck. He's had a tough career, so he had tough fights, and he's had some tough luck as well. I think he's looking upon this as his last chance, so I think we'll see Brian Carr at his most dangerous tonight, and he's most motivated. And I think he's going to need that against this kid. This kid is fresh, undefeated, full of the business. It's a tough match, but not out of the question Carr could win in points.
Thank you, Jim. And he has home support, of course, here in Glasgow tonight, where Watt, Jacobs and other Scottish stars really made profit from it. Carr's turn comes next. Live football coming up starting Sunday. Sky Sports 3 from midday. Manchester City against Charlton. Key game in the promotion race in Nationwide League Division 1. Followed at 3 over on Sky Sports 1. Premiership, Everton against Newcastle. And on Tuesday night from 7 we have Barnsley against Fulham. If you're watching on Sky Digital, you can catch interactive coverage of all 3 matches only on Sky Sports Extra. Top of the bill tonight coming from Glasgow. It's for the vacant Commonwealth Super Bantamweight title, Mike Goodall.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for the main event of the evening, and please welcome first to the ring from Australia, Nedal Hussein.
Boxing moles and spotters are becoming less and less secretive about the man some think will be Australia's new Jeff Fenwick. And what better opportunity for Sydney's Nedal Hussein to follow the 3-weight world champion than to have the legend in his corner. Indeed, trainer Fenwick told me last week that Hussein is the hardest puncher he's ever been in a ring with, the most arrogant, and that he will become the next boxing star. It's big talk, but we don't know much, Jim. He's unbeaten in 17 and really has done nothing wrong yet, but this is a step up.
Definitely is, but now and again you see fighters who have, even before they take the dressing gown off, they have that little look of kind of quiet confidence about them, and this young fellow has that. He's perfectly at home in there, looking forward to the job, very calm, focused, the word they keep using these days, but he looks as though he really fancies himself and fancies the job.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the ring Scotland's own Brian Carr.
Just listen to this crowd. Give Brian Carr a lucky horseshoe and a 4-leaf clover and keep all fingers and toes crossed. A group of lighter-weight fighters were suggesting at Nassim Hamad's weigh-in last week. He's friendly, down to earth, has sparred and fought for next to nothing just to look after his friends and family. Is this where he gets his just rewards? Both of his major major title opportunities have ended in controversy and disappointment. Is it third time lucky for Moedersbone's most popular man? He's home, he's confident, and Jim, he says this night will change his life.
Well, I hope just a little bit of luck as well tonight, because he certainly deserves that. He's the underdog once again tonight, but that will not trouble him in the slightest. He's used to that. He's fought against the odds all through his career. So hopefully he can have one last burst tonight and things go his way.
It's 12 rounds for the vacant Commonwealth Super Bantamweight title. Here's the tail of the tape. Nedal Hussein, the much younger man at 22 with the height advantage. Carr was tight at the weight last night. Hussein also with the reach, the 71-inch reach over Brian Carr. Hussein fresher and younger, but Carr with more experience, more rounds boxed, and Nedal Hussein with the bigger knockout percentage. Really, really well balanced, this one.
Ladies and gentlemen, live on Sky Sports from Kelvin Hall in Glasgow, it's big fight time. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the main event of the evening, promoted by Frank Warren in association with Alex Morrison Promotions and sponsored by Skelly's Motor Store and Glasgow City Council. This is a contest of 12 3-minute rounds to decide the vacant Super Bantamweight Championship of the British Commonwealth. Between and introducing the boxers, and firstly finding out of the red corner, wearing the black trunks, coming from Sydney in Australia. He weighed in at 8 stone, 9.5 pounds, and holds a 17-fight professional record, a perfect record of 17 wins, 10 wins by way of knockout. He's the current Australian Bantam and Super Bantamweight champion. Please welcome to Glasgow, Nedal Hussein. And across the ring, ladies and gentlemen, in the blue corner, wearing the blue trunks trimmed with white, coming from Moedersburn here in Scotland. He weighed in at the championship limit of 8 stone, 10 pounds, holds a 25-fight professional record, 21 wins, 5 wins by way of knockout with 3 losses and 1 draw. He's the super featherweight champion of Scotland. Please welcome Brian Carr. The officials appointed for this contest by the British Boxing Board of Control, the steward in charge, Mr. Fred Potter, the timekeeper, Mr. Ricky Gilmore from Glasgow, and the referee in charge of the action, Mr. Mark Green from London.
I spoke to you both in the dressing rooms. Remember, protect yourselves at all times and respect each other at all times. Shake hands, gentlemen. Good luck.
So can Brian Carr build on the newfound Scottish success? When he challenged for the British Super Bantamweight title last year, he became the 15th challenger from these shores to fall short. Can he now add the Commonwealth 8 stone 10 belt to Scott Harrison's 9 stone, Ian McLeod's 9 stone 4, and Scott Dixon's 10 stone 7 prizes? They're on a bit of a mission north of the border, but so are the Aussies. More and more have been popping up, fighting their hearts out. What do we expect of this Nedal Hussein in the black trunks? The word is he is a come-forward, dangerous puncher, especially with the left hook. Carr, we know, is a crafty southpaw with textbook skills, but who is cut-prone. It's a cracker on paper, Jim.
Definitely, yes, and they usually find with southpaw versus orthodox contests, it's the battle of the jabs. That's a nice little left hand which seemed to shake Hussein slightly. I wonder if it's just a balance thing. Yeah, but it's usually a battle of the jabs in the first couple of rounds. But Carr has to concentrate on his work rate, has to keep his work rate out. This fellow, long range, very confident, so he has to dent that confidence as soon as he can.
Carr already taking hold of the centre of the ring. Hussein, nicknamed Skinny, and that is what he is. A big man at 5'9" to Carr's 5'6". Walks around at lightweight, really, Hussein, but has no problem, he says, in dropping off the weight. Weighed in fine last night at 8'9 1/4", and Carr didn't make the weight first time round and had to skip off.
He throws long punches, Hussein. The hooks and the right-hand shots, the uppercuts, they're all long. He gets good distance on them. That's going to be a problem for Carr.
Just backing up Hussein, who's having a good look at the man from Scotland. When I spoke to Hussein last week down at the Nassim Hamid fight, he said that he'd seen no videos of Carr, he just knew he was a southpaw. Good preparation?
Yeah, but I like fighters to go in with all the tools ready. I'm not really a great believer in studying opponents. People fight differently every time, and so go in with an open mind, everything ready.
Carr has been training down in London at the Peacock Gym, sparring with Richie Wenton. Good right hand from Carr. He's holding his ground well here in the first.
Well, the good news so far for Carr, he has answered everything that Hussein has done in the first round. He's not standing back, he's not giving the young man time to get his boxing organised.
He has got the longer jab though, Hussein. He has 10 knockouts on his unbeaten record of 17. Just tries to squeak in a shot under Carr's body. Pretty good chin though, Carr, hasn't he?
Yeah, good chin. That's one of the things you can bank on normally with Carr. The main trouble in the first round, I think Hussein's punching has been better quality than Carr's. Work rate, punches landed, not much to choose between them, but Hussein's a little bit more quality.
An exciting start here for the vacant Commonwealth Super Bantamweight title. Carr's opportunity of landing his first major title, but he's got a tough opponent in the other corner, hasn't he, Jim?
Yeah, and the fellow really looks settled, and good quality in the Australian's punches, you have to say.
All the way from Sydney, Australia. He's been here 10 days. He said he's over the jet lag, no worries. It's a bit cold. He said his boxing will be red hot, though. In the black trunks, Nedal Hussein, the unbeaten 22-year-old out of the Jeff Fenwick stable in Australia. In the blue trunks, the southpaw, Brian Carr. He's been so unlucky in previous bids. He fought Michael Brodie and lost on a cut eye in the 10th round after doing extremely well. Now he's got the hard-hitting Nedal Hussein, who has operated at higher weights and may have the physical advantages here tonight.
Got a little nagging fear that maybe Hussein didn't show us too much in the first round. But there's still a fair bit more to come. We saw pretty much in the first round what Brian Carr's all about. Pressure, southpaw jab moving in behind it, but Hussein's got that little threatening look that maybe there's more to come.
He's won minor titles at featherweight already, Hussein, and when Carr stepped up to the 9-stone limit, he fell to Cassius Baloyi in the 9th. He just couldn't deal with the sheer strength of the South African. That was for the WBU featherweight title. Will that be a factor as we go on here?
Already he's landing uppercuts in Carr. That's a worrying aspect too. I mean, his pet punches have found target already. So certainly something for Carr to worry about.
It's never come easy for him, has it, ever, Brian Carr?
Nah, he's had a tough career all the way through. He's had to work hard. He never really had the breaks. Do everything the hard way. And everybody he's fought at title level have been decent quality fighters. This guy looks the same. Carr is trying to raise the pace. He realises he has to make an impression on this young man. But he's having to take some chances. And he's taken some shots as well, obviously.
The Australian digs in a left to the body and gets encouragement from his corner to include his brother Hussein, who is over with him and shortly due to challenge for a world flyweight title on the Mike Tyson undercard in May in Milan. But his brother in the ring is not doing much wrong here in Glasgow yet. It's early days.
He's shown a kind of quiet confidence as well, Hussein. You know, he's perfectly at home in there. Nothing Carr has done so far has even knocked him out of his stride. Nice little southpaw hook from Carr, but Hussein answering it.
The first time he has fought outside of Australia, and it's not bothering him at all.
Only on Sky Sports News. Carr Hussein warming up nicely. Back to Adam and Jim.
Thanks very much, Paul. And Brian Carr here in the blue trunks has a major task on his hand if he wants to become Commonwealth Super Bantamweight champion tonight. Nedal Hussein in the black from Sydney, Australia. Looks very tough, very composed. And Jim, did he win the first couple of rounds for you?
Yeah, I thought so. The first round was very close, but I thought the quality of his punching, but Matt Carr certainly won the second round. I think Carr realises he has to make an impression. He's raising the pace, but the problem with this young fellow, he doesn't do the same thing twice on the trot. You know, he'll maybe counter with a hook, he'll counter with a jab, he'll counter with an uppercut. He really has a good variety of counter punches in his arsenal.
Carr trying to get his skills, his crafty knowledge out. Hussein just drives him in, and Mark Green, the referee, says watch the heads. But again, Hussein comes straight back to work on Carr's body. And look for those uppercuts.
Yeah, see those long punches again. They're quick and they're long, so Carr's having to block them. He can't slip them or step back from them, he's having to block them.
It was very hard to measure how good Nedal Hussein was from his record. A lot of fights against unknowns in Australia. He's come up the quiet way, and he's come here to prove something tonight.
Yeah, guilty. You know, a few infringements we've seen from him. Ducking too low, a little bit careless with his head up close. He's maybe heard Carr is liable to cut here and there.
That's what cost his challenge to Michael Brodie, the cut. And he's had a lot of damage around his left eye, Brian Carr. So keep your eye on that during the contest. He has been unlucky and was, he felt, robbed last year when he challenged Patrick Mullins in a British Super Bantamweight match in Halifax. He felt he'd done enough. He said he was gutted afterwards. He sat at ringside for ages while the fans walked away and just couldn't believe it. He thought about quitting, but he's come back. And that was a good straight left.
Yeah, well, that's what he's going to have to do. I mean, this fella's a little bit smooth at long range. I don't think Carr can outbox him at long range. He's a little bit quicker, and he gets more distance in his punches. So I think Carr's going to have to mix it up with him, get close. I think that was a low blow that Carr's complaining about, yep.
Yes, just did momentarily affect Brian Carr. As Hussein works the body. Talking to Brian Carr. How's he coping with this?
No, it's a tough one. Add the elbow into the infringements that I mentioned earlier. Yeah, well, this little fella, little angelic looking kid, but he knows how to bend and break the odd rule. The trouble is with Carr's boxing is a little bit scrappy. That is the problem. He's not really boxing well himself, and he'll need to be at his best for this fella.
Will he be trying to rough Carr up, though, hoping that he'll cut and wear him down, having seen on his record that Carr has fallen in the sort of 9th and 10th before?
Well, I think at the moment Hussein will be quite happy the way things are going. He won't want to change too much. Carr's giving him time to get his punches off, which is a big mistake. Carr must realise he has to up the pace, but it's easy sitting here saying that than being in there doing it.
Remember, this is for the vacant 8 stone 10 Commonwealth title given up by Michael Brodie, the European champion, who is ranked #1 by the WBC. And if, as we believe, Eric Morales, the champion, moves up to featherweight, Brodie should get a crack.
I think the heads were both dangerous with the head, then Carr doesn't want to get involved in that. It's a history of cuts.
The referee was saying, don't grab and hold on. Catching him with the odd jab, the odd punch, Hussein. Quite happy to stand his ground, isn't he?
Yeah, that is the problem. Nothing that Carr's done so far has given him any great difficulties. He's quite happy. Carr landing some more punches in this round, which is better. He's still boxing a little bit scrappily himself, but a bit more success in this round.
The word is that he is a switch hitter. He's been fighting out of the orthodox stance so far, Nedal Hussein, but presumably he'll be used to the southpaws then.
Yeah, well, he's been winning the battle of the jabs, so I think Carr's the one with the problems as far as the jabs are concerned. The Carr's certainly doing better in this round. Still, his work's still a little bit scrappy, but landing more punches in this round. It's better.
Referee Green saying, work in there, and don't make it scrappy. Hussein just backs away. And for the first time, just drifts onto his bike. And Carr, to the delight of these fans here in Glasgow, momentarily backs Hussein into the corner.
Well, for the first time, Carr is not just stalking Hussein, he's actually pressurising him here, taking a little bit of the shine off his work. You know, just making him look a little bit untidy. This is far better for Brian Carr, but it has to start from here and go on from there. Keep that pace.
The word is that Hussein is a very good come-forward fighter, but put him under pressure on the back foot and see what he's made of. For the last time, Mark Green says, tidy it up. How do they do that, Jim?
A little bit of a clash of styles, I'm afraid.
They just eye each other up at the end of the fourth. And let's take a look at the super bantamweight champions. Eric Morales controversially beating Marco Antonio Barrera, keep the WBC. The WBO, strangely, unbelievably, have kept Barrera as their champion. WBA changed hands recently. Nestor Garza lost to Clarence Bone Adams, and the IBF held by Lelo Ledwaba. Michael Brody, as we've said, is the European champion. Michael Aldis, the British, and this for the vacant Commonwealth title. It's a terrific world-class scene, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of big fights, but I think I get the impression little Brian Carr will be delighted if the furthest he goes in his life is this Commonwealth title, and he got his act together a little bit in the previous round.
Let's go, corners.
Referee Mark Green just went to both corners during that break to tell them to tidy it up on the inside. It was very nice the first couple of rounds at range, wasn't it?
Yeah, but Carr, I think, is trying to raise the pace now. He has to take more chances, and when he misses, he's tending to grab hold. And Hussein, a little bit guilty of one or two dirty tricks, as we've seen.
This is how you've got it, Jim. 2 rounds in front for Hussein.
But the good news is Carr's work has improved. Good shot.
Nice left hand from Brian Carr. First real success of the contest will give him encouragement. Carr has the experience in his 26th fight with 21 wins. Hussein only those 17 inside Australia, and we just don't know, the longer it goes, how Nedal Hussein will cope with the atmosphere here and the audacity and strength that Brian Carr surely will bring to this, his last big chance of winning a title.
More life in Carr's performance now. I mean, Hussein threw about 10 punches in the trot. They're all out of range.
He's starting to block some of them as well, Carr, isn't he?
Yeah, just as we're speaking here, he shipped a couple. He has to come forward, he has to push this guy back. This guy is a smooth operator. You can't give him time to get his act together. In the previous round, Carr was really pressurising him, but he's standing off a little bit now.
Again, they come close. Just looks confident, Hussein, when he gets into that centre, the middle of the ring.
Hussein's punching's a little bit deliberate now. You can see them coming. I wonder if that's why Carr's defensive boxing is a little bit better. You know, you can, they seem to they've slowed down slightly, just a little bit more deliberate.
A little bit robotic, maybe?
Yeah, but he's just telegraphing them a little bit now. I would advise Carr really to set a pace. This is his last big chance. Give it everything he's got. And this little fella might not be able to go with him.
Never been short of heart, Brian Carr. Never been short of enthusiasm, and you can bet he will give everything he's got in there tonight. Again, Hussein tries to go downstairs. This shot's a little more wild now, and Carr matching him better.
Right. Watch your head.
It's getting a little closer. Well, there's free-weight world champion Jeff Fennick in the corner of Nedal Hussein. Won it at Bantam, Super Bantam and Feather. Hussein, his brother there as well, helping out. They've been over here for a week and a half. They went down to Olympia to see the Nassim Hamid fight. Nedal Hussein met Naz. He said it made his trip even before the fight. But this is what he's come to win, the Commonwealth Super Bantamweight crown. Hussein, the 22-year-old from Australia, in the black trunks, fighting out of the orthodox stance, up against Moodersburn's Brian Carr with the local support. He's got this, his third major title opportunity on home soil. He said he's not going to let anyone down. He's even been down to London to get fully prepared in the Peacock Gym, working alongside Scott Dixon, who won the Commonwealth welterweight title very recently. Can Carr become another Scottish success?
Just when we see a glimmer of hope for Carr, Hussein comes up with something we haven't seen, little straight leading right hands, bang onto the target. Little kid certainly has a little bit of quality about him.
Lunging with that uppercut, Hussein, but just springing on his feet and enjoying this, maybe a little bit more than Carr is. Carr's going to have to grit his teeth and hope that he can wear the Australian down. Is he picking up the points, though?
Well, he stopped a rot on my card, which is the main thing. I've given him a round and the share of another round, which was far better than he started off on my book anyway. But it's competitive. He's giving Hussein plenty of problems. I just don't feel he's boxing to the best of his ability tonight, Carr. Just a little bit scrappy at times.
It's a bit stronger, Hussein, still. And those body shots raining in. Carr was worried one was low earlier in the contest. I wonder if that will start giving him problems. There's a little bit of a red mark on his stomach area, Brian Carr.
The referee's having a fair old time trying to keep this tidy.
It's his first championship contest, Mark Green from London, after getting his Star Award. And he is having a busy one.
The right hand really working well for Hussein in this round. Very accurate with it.
The rights to the head and the little left hooks to the body. And Hussein, his brother in the corner, saying he's hurt, urging Nedal to follow up. I think he might have heard him. Looks strong, Jim.
Yeah. Not a good round so far for Brian Carr, I'm afraid.
Well, let's see how Gary Jacobs is seeing this up in the studio.
Yeah, great fight. I think Brian Carr's come right back into it. Hussein had a first good couple of rounds. As a true warrior as Carr is, he keeps coming into it. He's been there, he's been at the championship level. This is his third time. Hussein went back into it, he came back on strongly at the end of the round. A cracking fight, one not to be missed, and don't leave your seats for this one.
Thank you very much, Gary. And there is former pro Willie Connolly with Brian Carr and Jeff Fennick with Nedal Hussein. What will they be saying in those corners?
Well, I think there was some panic in Hussein's corner the last couple of rounds, but I think Jeff Fennick got a little bit happy, and that was a better round for Hussein. Gave some of his smoothness back, and Carr, unfortunately, wasn't pressurising him enough in that round.
Second half then of this Commonwealth Super Bantamweight title. On the left of your screens in the blue trunks is local favourite Brian Carr up against Sydney's Nedal Hussein.
It's that right hand again has given Carr all sorts of problems. They say the old-fashioned straight right for the southpaw. It's working several times now for Hussein.
One or two slight distress signals coming out from Brian Carr as he tries to get his boxing back. He was a brilliant amateur, Carr. He just hasn't quite settled in the professional game. He boxed for Great Britain in the '92 Olympics and only lost about 15 of 200 amateur fights. Do you think he's still retained some of that?
Yeah, I think maybe Brian himself feels he may have stayed amateur just a little bit too long, but he loved his amateur career. He wouldn't swap it for the world. But he maybe gets set in his ways a little as an amateur, but top-class amateur he was.
Just the stronger shots from Hussein. Marked by the right eye of Carr. Don't think it's anything serious, but he is cut prone. Again, that right giving Carr problems.
So Hussein has still been allowed to work at his own pace. Nothing hurried, nothing panicky, just steady shots, and that right hand is really working for him.
Again told to break by Mark Green. But he looks a little tired now, doesn't he, Carr?
Yep, and Hussein still looks fairly at home there. I tell you though, he's learned some of the old pro tricks. Hussein, when he misses with a punch, he doesn't mind falling in with the shoulder or just letting the body weight knock his opponent back to stop him from countering. He's learning the business the hard way.
There is a little bit of blood just inside that right eye of Brian Carr. I noticed him blinking just a moment ago. Just to be caught inside. He doesn't need that. Again, they come together, separated once more.
I think the trouble for Brian, even his encouraging work is still a little bit scrappy. He's not produced his best form tonight, and I think really he needed his best form to beat this young fellow.
Just out of range, Carr. A little bit too much with that jab. And having difficulties here with Nedal Hussein. Excellent first visit to Britain for Nedal Hussein. Jim, have you got him well in front?
Yeah, I mean, several of the rounds have been fairly close. Carr has been keeping it close, but I just feel his work is a little bit scrappier than Hussein's, and you can see Fennick showing his enthusiasm there.
Yes, he still loves his boxing, Jeff Fennick. He was talking to us for ages at the Hammered weigh-in the other day about his stable of fighters. Carr just shoves Hussein back for the first time. Here we are in round 8. Hussein, the 22-year-old, unbeaten in 17 in the black trunks. Carr having won 21 of his 25. Can he win his 22nd? And most important, Jim has it 4 rounds ahead to Nedal Hussein.
See, being kind to Carr, it's possible you can maybe score a couple of those rounds even when they've maybe thrown the same amount of punches, but I just feel the quality of Hussein's punches have been that little bit better than Carr. Carr's boxing a little bit scrappy at times tonight. Nothing, never shot and heart as we've seen in the past.
He did have a problem making the weight last night. That affected him at all?
No signs of that. No, I mean, he's looking strong enough. He's looking lively. He's never knocked this young fellow out of his stride.
Never looked troubled, really, Nedal Hussein, from the opening bell. And the names on his record really don't mean much. He knocked out a fella called Quinton Donoghue in one round. He won the Australian Super Bantamweight crown by appointing a Johnny Binge. He's fought in very odd places around about Australia and New South Wales, but he's come over here and he's put up a very good display of boxing. And they're applauding in the corner as he goes to work.
Bunch of punches there, Adam. Yeah, some nice, accurate little shots, and still doing everything at his own pace, Hussein.
Fennick was saying he's a very hard trainer. He doesn't have to ask him. He gets on with the job. Nice little right hand from Brian Carr. Once or twice gets through, but the stronger uppercuts of Hussein look more damaging.
Yeah, you always get the feeling just that his punches are slightly better than Carr's. And everybody thinks so much of Brian Carr. You keep running him just to improve that little bit, just to get that best form out of himself, but it just doesn't seem to be happening tonight.
Just briefly dropped his guard for a second, Hussein, a moment ago. Seemed affected by something. And his mouth open, maybe just starting to feel the pace a little. We are here in round 8.
Carr has put a lot into this round. The quality shots, I'm afraid, still come from Hussein.
But did Carr do enough?
Possibility, it might just about work him on that round, but the quality shots...
Willie Connolly in his corner with Matthew McAllister. How can they get Brian Carr to work out Nedal Hussein's very difficult style, solid style?
Yeah, well, he has to find a way to rattle him a little bit. See, the trouble is that the way he's pressured, he's not a pressure fighter, remember, Carr, and you're asking him to be a pressure fighter. So sometimes he moves in, pressurises, lands 1 or 2 punches, but he's not in a position to get more punches going, so they go into a clinch, and it's making some of the action a little bit untidy. You can't really ask a fighter to box out with his style.
As we can see there, more head and body shots and a much bigger total from the Australian challenger. Double the amount. It's a long, hard battle for Brian Carr here in Glasgow. Here we are in the 9th for the vacant Commonwealth Super Bantamweight title. But Michael Brodie, the man that Carr challenged, lost to, he sparred with him, gave up, vacated, he left it open for the chance of another Scottish success. But he has, we think, Jim, a lot of work to do.
Yeah, I'm afraid so.
Now just dancing around Hussein, leaving his hands down a little, and Carr took advantage of that, but he's not a big puncher. He's only had 5 knockouts on his record. He had 4 men down on the floor, Brian Carr. Mark Green said you're leaning in with your head to Nedal Hussein.
Yeah, and he's done it once or twice. Again, Carr trying to pressurise Hussein, but he's not 100% happy with that style. He's a cagey southpaw who likes to force an opponent to make some mistakes. But it wasn't working at long range for him in the first couple of rounds, so he had really to change his tactics, and that's what he's done.
He has had that preparation down in London, Carr, but he had a draw in his last fight, conceding a lot of natural weight to a lightweight Leroy Williamson, which we saw in Liverpool. It was an odd sort of affair, and Carr was very disappointed about that, but he said he will be up for this and would not let the people that have stood behind him down. Maybe he deserves the luck, but in the ring you've got to do it.
Yeah, you want to see the the correct man getting the verdict, obviously. But I'll say one thing: we haven't seen the dynamic punching from Hussein that Jeff Fenwick promised us. He doesn't look a murderous puncher. And he's landed his best shots a few times. Hasn't budged Carr, thankfully.
Yes, he had a lot of early stoppages, Nedal Hussein, but more have gone the distance of late. Mick O'Malley, of course, came over here to win the Commonwealth Super Featherweight title when he stopped Richard Everett in a round. Everett's jaw broken in that. But then O'Malley came back, and Ian McLeod of Scotland dethroned him. Coming quite little affairs, these Scots v the Aussies.
Hussein's right hand working well again. I'm surprised he hasn't used it more often, because whenever he throws that, he's landing bang on.
Patrick Mullings, the former British Super Bantamweight champion, who's here at ringside, predicted a very hard night for Brian Carr, and that is what it is turning into. Nedal Hussein, little mark over his left eye, but nothing too serious. Jeff Fenwick just putting the water on his head. There is Pat Mullings, commentating for Radio Tonight, the former British champion who won in that controversial fight in Halifax with Carr last year. Mullings said it would be tough. He's talked to Carr, he's given him advice, but he expected a hard one.
See, Carr, everything he has, he's pouring out there, but always his work's just a little bit scrappy tonight.
Let's go, corner.
Well, Brian Carr has 9 minutes left to pull something out of this Commonwealth Super Bantamweight shot. Carr from Moodisburn, here in Scotland, with the home support in the blue trunks. At 30, maybe his last big chance. Many fighters in the business are keeping their fingers crossed for Carr. Scott Dixon was telling me beforehand he really wants Carr to win, and Pat Mullings. He's worked hard at his game. But Nedal Hussein is at the moment just proved too effective and never looked troubled, Jim.
No, that's the problem. The Carr has never really made a big impression. He's had a couple of good spells, a couple of decent rounds. He's never really made an impression on the young man, never forced him to make mistakes or let him box out of his own pace.
Again, the lively corner of Nedal Hussein shouting instructions to him. They're really confident about this. They have been from the moment they arrived in England. They came early, they prepared well for this.
The fight itself has been a little bit of a disappointment, a lot of untidy action, I'm afraid.
Hussein just a little wayward there, and Carr trying to catch him with a couple of counters. The crowd show their support. But he's a light puncher, Carr, and again Hussein works the body, hoping to take the last little bite out of the Scotsman. This was the round that Michael Brodie beat him, and at the end of the night was when he was pulled out against Cassius Baloyi at featherweight. Do you think he can hold it together in there to last the distance?
Well, I've no signs he won't last the distance, no signs whatsoever. I'll be honest, the first couple of rounds I really fancied the look at Hussein, but he's kind of threatened to deceive a little bit. He hasn't improved over the rounds. He's boxed well, boxed coolly. Referee's just trying to get him to tidy things up again. But he's certainly not ready for world class, whichever way this verdict goes.
Yes. Again becoming angry, Mark Green. Tom just split a couple of times, little left uppercut from Hussein, trying to break through Carr's guard. He's always had a good defence from those amateur days. He boxed in the Commonwealth Games in Canada, the Europeans.
beat John Joe Irwin and Dennis Holbeck Pedersen, who was the European super featherweight champion in the amateurs. Great pedigree.
Well, Hussein is the one who's trying to up the pace now.
Maybe his corner sense they can stop Carr in this very successful fight so far for the Australians.
See, he makes good use of his reach. Very long arms. When they measure reach, obviously it's wingspan, and obviously a broader shouldered boxer is going to have a shorter reach. But this young man makes full use of his reach. Nice little work there from Carr. The long arm has always been a problem for Carr.
Well, Jim, this is how you've got it. 6 rounds ahead to Nedal Hussein. Brian Carr, on your score, needs a knockout.
Yeah, I will say a couple. I could have been a little bit kinder, maybe scored rounds even, but I felt Hussein's punches were that little bit better even in the close rounds. So I'll leave that way.
The only card that matters, though, is that of Mark Green, and he is in his first championship fight, so he's under a bit of pressure himself. It'll be interesting to see how he's got it.
Clash of heads. That was a bad clash of heads, Adam. I was surprised.
There's a little bit of blood already come from Carr's nose, it looks like. The bridge of the nose as Hussein piles forward. Not much damage, though, to Carr, thankfully. He could do without that as well.
Yeah, well, we know that boxing in Australia is a fairly tough circuit. But this little fella's learning most of the tricks. You're leaving the head in, rubbing it in Carr's face. I've seen him use the elbow, punch low.
Bit of an old dog for 22.
He's got a nice little repertoire there. He'll handle himself with the best of them with a bit more experience.
Remember, it is a step up too for Hussein, who's only appeared in minor title fights before. I think it's called the IBF Pan Pacific Belt and the WBF. And there is a bad cut now on Brian Carr's right eye. There was that little bit inside earlier. And it's bleeding more. There's trouble from the bridge of the nose from that head clash earlier in the round. Not a mark on Nedal Hussein. Problems all around for Moedersburn's Brian Carr.
A lot of misses in this round, I'm afraid. Obviously, both guys feeling a little bit tired now.
Just a little buckle there in Brian Carr's legs as the blood continues to flow from the nose. It's been such a hard night for him, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a struggle. I mean, a lot of wasted energy because of the clinching and the wrestling. It's the kind of fight, it's a kind of grueling fight. It takes a lot of energy out of fighters.
It's a deep breath, Carr, and goes back into the centre of the ring, but that's where Hussein has looked really comfortable, working behind his long jab. Has that reach advantage, that extra power, and the little left hooks that have come in from time to time. He's sweating himself now, Mark Green, from keeping the two of them apart. Done a good job?
Yeah, it's been a tough fight to referee. Some infringements, but you don't want a referee to ruin a fight. He's actually done a good job in a tough fight.
Well, Brian Carr just gives a little nod to the corner to say he's okay. But he's got 3 minutes left to pull something out of the bag. Let's look at the clash.
Yeah, well, Hussein has been dangerous with his head several times. We've seen him rubbing it in the clinches, and I think he was the main culprit. Both a little bit guilty, but Hussein the main culprit. Yeah, a little
just
bit
above
cynical.
the nose.
Yeah, a little bit cynical with that one. I think he was thinking, if someone's going to get the worst of this clash, it's not going to be me.
Hussein has even had more 12-round fights
scheduled and completed than Carr, and he doesn't look tired at all. Jeff Fenwick with some last-minute advice. Go out there and win this for Australia, is what he said. Punches landed. Far more for Nedal Hussein as they go to war for the final 3 minutes of this vacant Commonwealth Super Bantamweight belt. Is Brian Carr going to be unlucky once again in his quest to become a champion? There's no question, Jim, on your card, it's a knockout or nothing for Carr.
Yeah, unfortunately, as I said at the beginning of the match, Brian's best form could have taken the title home, but I don't think he's managed to produce that tonight. It's been a long, hard career. I thought maybe a last gasp effort he could produce the goods. Also, this little fella has to take some credit too. He's a cool operator, long arms, good repertoire of punches, good opponent, so it's been a tough night's work for young Brian.
He came with a secret reputation, Nedal Hussein, and he looks to have done enough to take home a Commonwealth belt to Australia, just like Mick O'Malley did. But we'll have to wait and see, because Mark Green, the referee, is the only man who knows. It's in Scotland, remember. But he's come into the Lion's Den and hasn't looked affected at all.
Not very cool. He seemed to have a nice temperament, but before the first bell sounded, he's perfectly at home. And his facial expression has never changed all the way through.
Hussein told me he was yet to taste defeat and that he will be victorious come what may at the end of this. Carr said the thing he hates most is losing. He just can't take or stand losing. But is this just a reality check tonight?
Well, we can always hope the referee sees it differently from the way we see it, but I'll be surprised.
Again, Hussein looks strong. Drops his hands in a sort of cocky, arrogant manner. Told me the other week he admired Nassim Ahmed's way of doing that. But he's gone to work as well. And despite the use of the head and a few dodgy little moves, he's boxed nicely, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not being overly critical there. I mean, we all did that. It's part of the business. It's a rough old business. As long as it's not, you're not biting someone's ear off or taking it to extremes. I mean, just a couple of little dodges that he's picked up over the years. Nothing too nasty.
Still bouncing on his feet, Hussein has to take a little right hand. A last effort from Brian Carr, who's, as always, battled bravely, but the hand is raised of Nedal Hussein. There may be boos here in the arena, but he's taking that Commonwealth Super Bantamweight title back home to Australia, and Jim, rightly so.
Yeah, I'll be interested to hear the scoring. I don't know if the referee will be a little bit kinder on Brian than I was. I'd like to have been kinder, but you have to see it, or call it as you see it. But the main thing is the right man goes home with the title.
It's a shame there are boos going out. As we can see, the fight total, Hussein threw more, landed more, and had a much better success rate than Carr. It was a brave, valiant effort from Brian Carr. He shakes his head, but he just didn't really get into it, did he?
No, I always had him behind. I never had him in front on my card at any time. He pulled himself together after the first couple of rounds. His tactics were good, but I think he was forced into tactics that he was not comfortable with, being a pressure fighter, trying to break this young guy's rhythm, and he always found an uphill struggle.
Let's see from Mike Goodall just how referee Mark Green scored it.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 very hard rounds of boxing, the referee's scorecard reads: Brian Carr 114 points, Nedal Hussein 116 points, the winner and new Super Bantamweight champion of the Commonwealth, Nedal Hussein.
Well, it was only by 2 rounds on the scorecard, but there is the new Commonwealth Super Bantamweight champion, Nedal Hussein, 18-0. And bad luck once again for Brian Carr.
Good opponent indeed, who really brought the fight of his life. Your appreciation, Brian Carr.
You wonder what's left for Brian Carr. As always, 10 out of 10 for determination. We'll get a word with the winner if we can, and perhaps also the loser here. And before we close in Glasgow, more action featuring the return of another of Scotland's most popular fighters, the mighty Quinn. On Sky Sports 1. Here tonight in Glasgow, I'm afraid Brian Carr has come up short again in title class. Nedal Hussein of Australia is the new Commonwealth Super Bantamweight champion. Referee scorecard reading 114-116 in favour of the youngster, 22 years of age, from Australia. Bitter for Carr, no doubt. Here's the loser and the winner with Adam Smith.
Nedal, congratulations. You take the Commonwealth title home. Easier than you thought, or harder?
No, I mean, I give Brian all the credit in the world. I knew he was going to be a tough, cagey, awkward fighter. I've never been able to fight southpaws too well. But, I mean, like I said, I didn't fight the best of my ability tonight. I'm sorry about that, you know. But all credit goes to Brian for putting me off my game plan and not letting me fight the fight that I want to. But, I mean, fair and square, I reckon I won the fight convincingly.
Brian, it was 2 rounds on the ref scorecard. What did you think at the end? Did you think you'd done enough or not?
I thought I'd just done enough to win it. I thought it was maybe a round in front, but I've had no luck with referees, so it's not going to bother me. That's it. Finished.
Jim Watt had it a little bit wider on the scorecards. Did you just not feel comfortable tonight?
I thought I started off quite well, but then I fell asleep in the middle rounds, but came back strong at the end. But these things happen.
Is there any more from Brian Carr? You've been so unlucky in the past.
No, I think I've had enough, really. I couldn't handle another decision like that.
That's it, then?
I think so. I'd say so anyway.
And for you, Nedal, back to Australia and back in triumph?
Back in Australia, we got offered a few fights last night. There's a fight with, what's called, Marco and Barrera, if you want to fight, or there's a fight on the same undercard coming up in Las Vegas. But if Brian Carr wants a rematch, I'll be more than happy to come back and defend my title here in Scotland. Or unless you can get another English back to fight me, Michael Brady. I heard he's the big guy in England. I'll be more than happy to come back to defend my title against Michael Brady if he's willing to.
Thanks a lot, Nedal. Well done.
Let's hope we see more of him. He is a youngster going places, it would appear. You have to feel what a nice man Brian Carr is. It's the right thing, isn't it, at this point?
I think it's such a shame for him. I mean, at the end of the day, it's down to himself. He's had 3 title fights. Everyone's a tough fight. You can't fault him for commitment, sacrifice, desire. I mean, he gives his all for every fight he's had. He's just been put to the post. Again, that's going to be his decision.
Why did that happen tonight?
I think it's just, again, that Nedal was a very, very good fighter. I mean, you looked at him, he was very composed the whole way through. He fought at the same tempo. And as he said, as I said earlier on, as we were having a conversation, maybe he was struggling a little bit with the southpaw, and maybe that's why. Because he never seemed flustered. He was never taken out of his rhythm. He was always in the same rhythm, and he was getting on top all the time. And again, Brian Carr's always a tough guy. He's always going to be there 150%. So much for Nedal's left hook and the left hand that we heard about that he's KO'd. When he moves up in class, as Brian Carr is up in that top 10 stuff, he never really fazed him at all. But he won fairly convincingly on points.
If it is to be the end for Carr, he will remain such a popular fighter. Another fighter popular in these parts, making a comeback here tonight. Earlier on, Willie the Mighty Quinn. You might remember him as a challenger in the British class at super middleweight, lost to David Starry. Now Quinn, a light heavyweight in his latest incarnation. Important night for him, looking to put on a big performance against Jason Barker. Let's pick it up in round 2 here.
Second of 6 in the light heavyweight division, featuring Willie Quinn in the black trunks on the right of your screens, up against Sheffield's Jason Barker in the red, white and blue. He has the name of his girlfriend Kelly on the front and the name of his grandma Almina on the back. Barker, who lives with her. He's just been sacked by Glyn Rhodes. His cornerman is now Andy Manning, who works with Glyn. How much has Barker got left as Quinn again works the body and switches to the head? He beckons him in, but he looks tired, Jim.
Yeah, I think the body shot's already beginning to take their toll. He's got a fairly open defence, so I think it's just a case of as soon as Quinn starts finding the range, the big punches are certainly going to land.
Heavy artillery going in from Quinn now. Coming off a draw, Jason Barker, but before that had 3 consecutive stoppage defeats. Didn't look as though he had many places to go. And he's not finding a place to hide in there as Quinn keeps marauding forward.
Yeah, I think Quinn has his plan is just to grind him down. He's not trying anything fancy, anything subtle, just getting right in there, close all the while, banging away to the body, and it's working already. Barker's blowing a little bit.
He's weighing heavier at 12.6½, Willie Quinn, these days, but probably to be expected after a long rest. And Barker, with blood coming from his nose, his mouth open, looks pretty exhausted already here in the second round. Quinn finds the headshots, and I don't know how much more Jason Barker can take.
He doesn't have the power to keep Quinn off. That's his big problem. He's not quick enough. I thought he was maybe going to go over from that shot. He's not quick enough to move out of range. He's not strong enough to keep Quinn back, so things are really going against him here.
He's being worn down, and although he tries to get on his bike bravely to throw something back, it surely looks a matter of time here for Willie Quinn. The popular fighter from Trinent marches forward. Barker trying to throw the odd one back. How much more can he take, Jim?
Not too many more of these body shots. Quinn's very accurate now. He's found a nice little bit of rhythm in the second round here. He's not wasting the punches. And as I say, it's fairly obviously what his plan is, just going to keep going until Barker can take no more.
Barker switches southpaw, but he looks drained. Another couple of rights to the body and a vicious-looking uppercut. Willie Quinn wants to be back with a bang. The referee taking a closer look at the end of the second as Jason Barker goes wearily back to his corner. A big round for Willie Quinn. And Andy Manning, the cornerman, says that Jason Barker is either hurt or will not want to take any more punishment. And the referee, Victor Loughlin, has called it off. That is a comeback win for Willie the Mighty Quinn at the end of the second round. 28 in 33 now for Quinn, and he'll be hoping for a rematch with British and Commonwealth champion David Starry sometime later this year.
Yeah, that's a nice work for Willie Quinn. The body shots were tremendous. I mean, really wicked shots, sickening punches, and you can see the face, but Barker's face there, he really knocked all the fight out of him.
Just complaining of his ribs in the corner, Jason Barker. Those body shots did the damage, didn't they, Jim? Yeah,
they were full-blooded shots. I mean, Barker wasn't moving enough. He wasn't tying Quinn up inside. He'd just taken everything that was coming his way, and no way. It was always on the cards, a quick stoppage, I think.
So, Gary, if he has a future, surely it is in the light heavyweight division.
Yeah, well, he's made a good comeback there. He's fed his way back in. Good stoppage, good variety of punches, and you can see as Quinn's made probably his second or third comeback in his career, he's learned a lot in his defence and his attack, his switching body and head and all the rest of it. But it definitely isn't the light heavyweights.
We learned elsewhere tonight just how dangerous the comeback trail can prove to be. No happy visit to Glasgow for Neville Brown, the one-time British middleweight champion. Super middleweight contest tonight against Chris Davies, but it was stopped in the second round. Brown complaining bitterly about that, but a huge blow to Neville's hopes of a British title shot. Next live boxing on Monday night. Hope you can join us at 8, Sky Sports 1. Top of the bill, Noel Wilders against Kamel Guerfi at bantamweight. That's this Monday night. On to Tuesday night, and the big fight series continues with a very special event, appropriately since we are in Scotland. The outstanding Ken Buchanan against the great Roberto Duran, their world lightweight title fight from 1972. That's this coming Tuesday night at 10, Sky Sports 3. Saturday fight night next week, it's Ricky Hatton, one of the outstanding youngsters in British boxing. Light welterweight, WBO Intercontinental title fight for him against Pedro Terran. That's Saturday fight night, next Saturday night at 8, Sky Sports 1. And the following Monday, March the 27th, we're back with yet more live action. British welterweight title fight. Derek Roach against Harry Dami. Again, that Monday night. It's an 8 o'clock start time, Sky Sports 1. So lots and lots of business to come. My thanks tonight to Gary Jacobs. As always, a pleasure to work with you, and also with Jim Watt at ringside. But no happy night for Scotland in our top of the bill here. Brian Carr yet again coming up just a little bit short in title class. But with Nedal Hussein, we may well have found a youngster who is really going places. Hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks for being with us. See you soon.